Life is absurdly short. 4,000 weeks is all you have if you live to almost 80 years old. And that's if you make it to 80. So, time management should be our most critical issue. Whether you are wasting your time scrolling social media, playing games, or spending time with people you don't even like, or you're a productivity addict and trying to get as many things done as possible, you need to review your relationship to time. However, most of the literature on time management leaves us feeling stressed and empty. If you want to start living an authentic life, you need to face finitude. Hi, welcome to UQ. Today I'm going to talk about the book 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. The book became a New York Times bestseller and has received a lot of praise from a wide range of people. Adam Grant, #1 New York Times best-selling author of Think Again, said this is the most important book ever written about time management. Naomi Alderman, author of The Power, said 4,000 Weeks is a book to read and reread, to absorb and reflect on. So if you are stressed out, or if you're anxious about not having enough time to get everything done, or if you're indecisive, I recommend you watch this video and read the book to reflect on yourself and think about your life and to start living it in a truly meaningful way. In this video, I'm going to focus on a few points I personally found most important. I left a link to the book in the description, so if you're interested, I highly recommend you pick up a copy. First of all, I'm going to talk about why we are so busy, even though our technology has improved, but we can never master our time. Then I'm going to explain 4 techniques to get out of the efficiency trap and start living for the moment. Let's get started. Firstly, we need to face reality. The average lifespan is short. Even if you live to 80 or even 90, we tend to act as if we are immortal. But the reality is, our time on this planet is limited. Let's face this and reconsider how we should live our lives. Seneca, a Roman philosopher and Stoic, said, "But life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. When they come to the end of it, the poor wretches realize too late that for all this time they have been preoccupied in doing nothing." It's amazing that even 2,000 years ago, philosophers were talking about time management. Now, technology has improved so much. We don't have to wash our clothes or dishes by hand. Roomba robots vacuum and mop our homes. Yet, technology didn't make us less busy. The historian Ruth Schwartz Cohen shows that when housewives first got access to labour-saving devices, like washing machines and vacuum cleaners, no time was saved at all, because society's standards of cleanliness simply rose to offset the benefits. This holds true for everything in life. Oliver Burkeman calls it the efficiency trap. Most of the time management books focus on how efficiently we can get things done. The problem is, even when those methods work and we become more efficient in getting things done, it won't lower our stress levels. We will still be busy, anxious, and empty. The more emails you respond to, the more you get back. The more things you get done, the more tasks will be added to your to-do list. Even if you become more efficient and you earn more money, you'll never be able to keep up with things you want to do or want to have. You'll never be truly fulfilled. You'll be stuck in a vicious cycle of tackling tasks that never stop coming your way. You might be wondering if there is a better way to spend your time, rather than just tackling the jobs in front of you. But even if you try to be more productive, you will still feel that you will never be able to reach what you are aiming for. You are hoping that one day you are in control and you have nothing left in your inbox or on your to-do list. Then you can start working on things that matter the most. Now you have to accept that day will never come. Productivity is a trap. The more efficient you become, the busier you'll become. So what can you do? The first thing we can do is accept the fact that you cannot do everything you want to do, or you cannot have everything you want to have. You need to face finitude. You need to carefully choose what to do and what not to do. You need to procrastinate things of less importance and accept the fact that there will always be things that are left over or not done. There is always talk about prioritization. A frequently used metaphor for prioritization is the example of trying to fit big rocks, pebbles, and sand into an empty jar, where big rocks represent the most important stuff and pebbles and sand are the things that are not that important. If you fill the jar with sand and pebbles first, you won't have room for the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in the jar first and then fill with sand and pebbles, you can get the most important things done. But the problem is you have way too many big rocks. You need to reduce the number of those big rocks. 3 principles to reduce those rocks are: 1. Pay yourself first when it comes to time. 2. Limit your work in progress. And 3. Resist the allure of middling priorities. Firstly, just as in the book The Richest Man in Babylon, it tells you to pay yourself first. To save and become rich, you'll need to first save time for yourself. Many people just spend most of their income and save whatever is left at the end of the day. But then you use most of it and you can never save. That's why you need to set aside some percentage of your income to yourself first. The same holds true for time. If you try to do things that matter for you only when there is time left for that, you will never be able to do it. You have to set aside time for yourself first, for things that matter the most, such as exercise, sleep, relationships, or hobbies. For me, I set aside time for sleep, exercise, and my family, no matter how busy I am. The second principle is to limit your work in progress. When you are handling multiple projects at one time, you feel as if you are keeping plenty of irons in the fire and making progress. But the truth is, you'll never be able to get the most important things done. So just allow yourself to have 3 tasks or projects in progress at once. And until you finish one of them, you cannot take on another project. The third principle is to avoid second-tier priorities. We simply do not have enough time to do everything we want to do, so we need to focus on only the things that matter the most. According to Warren Buffett's advice, the great investor, the second-tier priorities are not those things we should do when we get a chance. Rather, they are the ones we need to avoid at all costs. Whether it's a semi-interesting job or friendship that is somewhat enjoyable, we've got to learn to say no if they are not on the top of your list. Because they are appealing enough for you to get distracted, you can end up spending most of your time on things that are of middling priorities. It's easy to say no to things that are not important at all, but you also need to say no to these somewhat appealing second-tier priorities and choose a few things and sacrifice everything else. Finitude means that every choice we make is both an affirmation and a sacrifice. When applying these 3 principles, you might feel the pain or sense of loss. But again, our time is limited and we won't be able to do everything. All we can do is focus on those things that matter most and ditch the middling priorities. Now, let's look at some of the practical ways to overcome our lack of time that I found most practical. The first one is to develop a taste for having problems. We tend to feel discomfort when we do what really matters. That is because doing what matters forces us to face our limitations. You might find that you don't have the talent, or you don't know how other people will perceive the project you are working on, which is totally out of your control. Of course, it's easier to scroll down on social media and zone out. To overcome this predicament, we need to face our limitations and accept them, and find some way to tolerate and accommodate this discomfort. The second prescription is to embrace radical incrementalism. It means we should stop trying to do too much in a day, but to do a little bit every day of what's important. When the psychology professor Robert Boyce studied the writing habits of his fellow academics, he found that the most productive and successful writers are those who made writing a smaller part of their daily routine and kept going with it day after day. The third prescription is to embrace hobbies and leisure. Our concept of time has changed since the invention of the clock. Our modern concept of time is that time is something we own and get to control. Time is one of the most precious resources which we have to spend more wisely. So we optimize our schedules. The more we focus on how to use time well, the more we treat each and every moment as a resource to achieve something in the future. But the truth is we never live in the future. Instead of trying to spend every moment being productive in the service of future goals, spend some time on hobbies or leisure whose value isn't derived from its ultimate aim. For example, when you go swimming in the ocean, go hiking in the mountains, or go out for dinner with your best friends, you are not aiming to get these things done. Sometimes it makes more sense to have a goal or a purpose because otherwise we never achieve anything. However, the problem is when we place the whole value of life on the future and that we sacrifice the present moment too much for the future. After all, we are always living in the present moment. The fourth prescription is to adopt a fixed volume approach to productivity. Operate two to-do lists, one open and one closed. The open list is for all the tasks you have. Then you choose a maximum of 10 tasks for the closed list. You cannot add a new one to the closed to-do list until you finish one of the tasks. You don't have to complete all the tasks on the open list. Rather, you should not even try to complete them. You can complement this strategy by establishing the predetermined time frame for your daily work. These are only a few of the many ways to embrace your finitude. But if you practice them, you will be able to embrace the truth about your limited time and your control over time. That way you will be able to accomplish more that matters and feel more fulfilled. Things I talked about here are only part of the book. I highly recommend that you read the book and let us know your thoughts in the comments. In this channel, I'm going to talk about more great books that could change your life for the better, as well as some studies that would help you improve your life. If you watched the video this far, it's proof that you're a motivated learner. If you're interested in improving your physical and mental health, wealth creation, improving relationships, and changing your view of the world, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.